Be your own best beautiful.
Hey beauties, it's Riri. If you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. If that sounds like your cup of tea, please consider subscribing and give the video a thumbs up. We are diving right in. Today is Follow Along Friday. This is an in-depth, in mostly real time, sit down, chatty, get ready with me type of video. And today we're going to be using the Align My Future palette from Plouise, and we're going to be creating a beautiful springtime pastel little eye look today. But basically I wanted to kind of take it back to traditional, old school, sit down tutorials, get ready with me type of things, and just kind of be a little bit more in depth with them. And you guys asked to see a pastels look, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our little bit of hair back. How are you doing? What's going on? Any plans? Any birthdays coming up? Happy birthday if you do have a birthday right now. I'm gonna dive in. We're gonna prep the lids first. I will show you the brushes that I'm going to use, and then you guys can follow along in real time to recreate this particular look. If at any time I'm doing something you don't want to do, the colors are not the colors you would have chosen, switch it up by all means. If at any time I'm going too fast or too slow, speed my ass up or slow me down. First up, I'm gonna prep. I think it's important to prep. I really do feel like, especially if you're somebody that has very oily lids and or very dry, kind of heavier crepey lids and textured lids, eye base, eye primers are your best friend. Now the one that you choose is obviously going to be up to you. I really love the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. That's my all-time favorite. And then I love the Glamlite Eye-Cing Eye Base in Buttercream. That's the one I'm going in with today. I like to go in and kind of press it out with my fingers and then go in with a brush. This particular brush is the I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. And it's just like a concealer brush. I'm really quickly going to go through the types of brushes. I don't think the brand is as important. It's up to you if you have a particular favorite brand, but I'm going to let you know what kind of brushes I typically use for one makeup look. I always go in with an open, fluffy blending brush. I will go in with a blending brush that is a little bit more kind of pinched and a little bit more densely packed. I like to have a shader or packer brush. I like to have an inner corner or detail type brush. And we're using multiple colors today, so I may use a couple more brushes. These are the ones that I use every single time as far as the types of brushes. And then I will go in with a brush that is short, tight packed, and slightly curved so that I can use that for under the eye. So that's how we're gonna start out, and we're just gonna go in. I'm gonna put a little bit of eye base down, and if you kind of have pretty normal skin, not a lot of texture, not a lot of veining or anything like that, you can literally just take your foundation and your concealer onto your eyelids and set it down. You can do whatever is most comfortable for you. So I've placed it down, and then I'm going to kind of finish pressing it around, and I'm going to kind of finish blending it out with a brush. Do whatever makes you feel like the best version of yourself. Y'all know our motto around here. And I'm doing my eyes first, solely because, first of all, I'm doing a little bit more colorful look, even though it's going to be lighter and more pastel, and because I've not used this palette yet, so I do not know how much, fallout or anything like that I'm going to get. Also, if you do your eyes first, and I used to be very much against doing my eyes first, I always loved doing my base first, but I really do find that it allows for a little bit more freedom, a little bit more creative freedom. You can be messy, you can be crazy, you don't really have to be super precise, and then you can clean everything up and then go in and do your base. I'm also going to note, I'm going to use my last two, but I do have some, like a roll of eye tapes. I think that eye tapes are genius, and they're also your best friend. I don't always use them. Like I said, you can go in and be extremely sloppy and stuff like that, kind of do what you want to do, and then you can clean it up. I like to follow from the lower lash line and come out. You can, do whatever shape you want to do. This is going to be a very colorful ombre effect, and I'm really going to kind of blow it out a whole lot, I think. I don't really usually plan, but we'll see what happens. And I kind of put my hands like this and kind of take a look back. They don't look super even, so I'm going to change that. And if you're going to use Scotch tape instead of using actual eye-safe tapes, my only recommendation is just that you take it and put it on the back of your hand first and then place it down to the eye area. Our eye area is very, very tender, and you have to be very gentle. It is the thinnest skin that we have. I feel like that's as even as we're gonna get, but of course, like I said, we can go in and clean it up. So we are prepped. I have all of my brushes ready. And you can do this one of two ways, whatever is most comfortable for you. If you're following me in real time and you prefer to do it from darkest to lightest or your outer corner to the inner corner, do whatever makes you feel like the best version of yourself. First and foremost, I'm going to go in with my little inner corner brush. And I think what I want to do is start with like pale yellow, maybe go yellow, orangey, pink, and then go over to the other side and do green, purple, blue, or purple, blue. We'll figure that part out. And I'm going to put up a little snippet as well of how you open this and everything. It's so damn beautiful, you guys. It lights up. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I got this from Kate. So I am going to go in with my yellow first, and I'm going to go in with my very small brush from my inner corner. I really also love a teeny tiny little pencil brush like this that you can go in with, and these are all matte. I may go in with something to like give the inner corner a shimmer or something like that, but for today we're going to use just what's in the palette. And you can use any type of palette that you have that has these colors in it. I've never used this palette, so let's just hope that everything works out okay. I am going to, and you may have to clean up the inner corner because we are doing obviously our eyes first and then our base. So you may have to go in and clean it up. And with these, because they're more kind of like pressed powders or pressed shadows, pressed pigments, I like to go in and you'll see that I'm stamping it in place. I'm pressing it in place. And I tend to do that, and then I will kind of blend the edges out as I go. I think for that being a very pastel, soft yellow, I'm coming right here. I think that works beautifully. Next, I'm gonna pick up my fluffy brush, but the one that's a little bit smaller. And I think I wanna go, I don't wanna go too bright. I'm gonna go into Butterfly Effect, which is this yellow right here. And I don't have a whole lot of lid space, and I also have hooded lids. So you will notice I'm going to use very little of each color so that I can use as many colors as possible. And again, I'm going to press it in place. And we may have to go over our shades a couple of times. This is appearing to me, just off of, you know, kind of first impression, that they're a little bit drier. I'm going to go back in with our first brush into the light lemon yellow, which I think is absolutely freaking stunning. I think it is a beautiful color. And I'm going to make sure that I'm meshing these two shades together. And I'm not gonna pass kind of right here as far as like on my lid, because once I blend everything up just a little bit to kind of blend my colors, it's gonna give me the blend that I want it to give. I'm staying in this exact same brush. I'm just gonna tap it off, and I think I'm gonna go over here to Fate, which is more of a kind of like salmony color. And I'm gonna put this right beside the color we just laid down. Again, I'm using very little of each color, and I'm setting it in place first. I feel like they are pretty true to pan color. Again, slightly dry. I do also have very dry lids, so keep that in mind. They're quite pigmented though, and I am impressed so far. I will say I did get a little crease. That is not from this, that is from the creasing from my eye base, so that's on me. Next, I'm gonna go over to the other side. I love a dual-sided palette. I think they're so freaking cool. And I'm gonna work, because I'm obviously running out of space. I think I'm gonna go into the Good Karma shade, this beautiful kind of tealy blue. And I've been in the same exact brush, you guys. I'm just tapping it off on my towel right beside me. Whoa, that is pigmented. And again, tapping it in place first. And we can be, like I said, messy as you want to be, take it out as far as you want to take it out. You can always come in and clean everything up. Like right now, everything's very disjointed. We're going to fix that, do not worry. And then I'm going to tap this off. I wanted to use more colors in this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. And I'm going to go back in with the original brush and tap this off because I'm kind of getting to where I don't have a whole lot of space. And I'm going to go in with Dream, Plan, and Do. Load that up pretty aggressively. And I'm going to kind of pull it out and fill in that last little part of the lid space. Keep in mind, again, you can pause this video at any time. If you wanted to do different colors, you could obviously do different colors. Whatever palette you're using, use those colors. Now I'm going to take my fluffy brush with no product on it at all, and I'm very lightly, let me kind of tilt so you guys can see, I'm very lightly grazing. I am not putting any pressure at all, and my hand is all the way down at the bottom of the brush. I'm going to lightly graze just the edges. And now I'm going to go back through. I'm going to grab another little brush that's basically the exact same shape as the one that I was using for the inner corner. And I'm going to go back through and use every single shade all over again. Again, take your time with this. I'm going to use every single shade again. And now this time, where I'm kind of keeping each shade in place and wasn't really blending, I'm going to pack and then softly graze in between those two shades. And when I say softly, guys, I'm barely putting any pressure. Now you can already see there's no line of demarcation here the way that there is with our other shades. We're going to continue to do this for all the rest of the shades. So that means I'm going to go back into the darkest yellow, the butterfly effect, press it into place. That gives me the deepest level, that gives me the greatest level of opacity. When I've placed all the product, I am going to very lightly graze. Again, you guys, the lightest little bit of pressure is plenty of pressure. And then I'm going to tap that brush off again. I'm going to go into that beautiful peachy salmon shade. And we're going to come over here to our little salmon-y color. And again, graze in between those two shadows. And as I said in the beginning of the video, you could have also started out on the outer corner and brought your shades inward. That is completely up to you. That is personal preference, 100%. And you may have to go back and forth a few times. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, if you're way ahead of me, if you're literally already done and you're like, girl, I'm already done, then just, that's fine. That's totally fine. We're gonna wipe this off again. We're gonna flip over to our other side. We're going to go back into that beautiful teal shade that we use, that Good Karma. Again, pressing, and then I'm softly going to feather my edges and feather those two shades in together. Again, holding my brush at the very, very end of the brush. The further down you hold your brush, the least amount of pressure and or the least amount of pigment you're going to place down. I'm not actually liking the blend that I'm getting between these two, so this is probably going to take me a minute. I am going to go back into Fate, and I'm going to go into one of the smaller brushes I was using for my inner corner. And that can tend to happen when you're going kind of transitionally from a warm tone shadow to a cool tone shadow. And it just takes a little bit of finagling. It can tend to get a little bit muddy. We don't want that to happen, obviously. Again, going in between both shades. And I'm just very, very softly trying to get that blend going. And I feel like I lost a little bit of that color over here, so I'm actually going to go back So thus far I'm happy with the gradient here, I'm happy with the gradient here, and I just need to work on the gradient that's right here. If you ever get to a place where you do feel like, hey, these are tonally not really working, go in with a different shade that is a little bit deeper in comparison to this one and then add that shade. Or you can come a little bit more into the green, and then again, I'm gonna go back into that green shade. And very softly diffuse it. That makes me a little bit happier. I'm gonna stay in that same exact green shade. I'm gonna build it up here on the outer edge and start blending that in also at the top and blending it in with my purple. And then of course, last but not least, we'll go back into dream, plan, and do. And again, intensify, and then slowly start diffusing. And then I'm going to go back again with that brush that had nothing on it, and I'm very softly just making sure that I have no harsh edges at all. And then what I like to do, I'm going to grab some setting spray. Hopefully I have one close by. Okay, I have my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. It could be any setting spray, it could be a toner, it could be an essence. I'm going to take and solely spray just where my eye makeup is at. That's going to kind of help set down what I've already placed down, but it also takes down a little bit of that powderiness. I'm still really not liking this, so I think I'm going to go in and kind of make this a little bit more yellowy orangey so that I can get a better blend. So I'm going to go in with Consistency right here. And hopefully that's enough of a gradient or a variation to the yellow, but it gives us a better blend into our bluey green shade. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I wanted to do this in real time with you guys so you guys can see the entire process. And now you can see it's turned kind of more bluey with that. And then I'm gonna go back into the shade Fate. I feel like I'm getting happy now. I feel like I'm excited where we are at. Yes, this is much, much better. Again, grazing the very top, pressing the pigment into place. Now I'm satisfied. And then you can go through, again, if something is looking a little bit lighter than you anticipated, maybe it's a little darker, you want to like really blend it out, that is totally fine. All right, yeah, I'm loving this. I'm very happy with how this looks. Then we're going to remove and we'll see what we have. And you can see that is a beautiful ombre winged out effect. And I'm obsessed with it. I'm gonna do this side. Let's come back and finish this up. All right, beauties, I am back. We have our base done. I went in with my Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. This is in the shade 190. I went in with my Tower 28 cream blush. I'm obsessed with this. It's so mother effing beautiful. It's Beach Please Office Hours. I set lightly, and that's actually what the highlight is, with my NYX High Glass Finishing Powder. This is in the shade Medium. I went in with a tiny bit, just at the very top part, up towards my hairline, of the Glossier, I forget what this is called, the Solar Paint Luminous Bronzer Cream. It is quite rich and quite warm, so a little tiny bit goes a really long way for me. As you can see, our eyes are done. We're going to finish the lower lash line. I do quickly want to go in with that tiny little brush we were using for the inner corner. I'm going to go back in with that beautiful, very soft yellow color first, just to intensify it. I think it is a stunning color. Again, these are slightly a drier formula, but I do have dry lids, just noting it for you guys. I think I'm going to stay in this brush. I normally, if I'm using just 1 or 2 shades, I will go into a like smudger packer type brush and use that. I'm going to go into the exact same brushes. I'm going to go back into the exact same shades that I used for our eye look. And I'm going to stay in this brush. And I'm going to follow exactly what I did on the actual lids onto the lower lash line. Again, making sure everything is blended well. And we have that nice soft gradient that I am looking for. You can also take and put a sticky base. Obviously down here we do not have an eye primer on, so these may not stick as well, being a little bit of a drier formula. That doesn't bother me. I'm okay with the whisper of color. But you can go in with a tacky base on the lower lash line as well, and that will make everything adhere a little bit better for you. We're going to stay in the exact same brush. I'm tapping it off. I'm going to go into the shade Good Karma again. And I'm staying at the lower lash line. I'm not really kind of, blowing it out or smoking it out too badly. We want to keep this still nice and soft. And then finally finishing with Dream Plan Dew. Just to make sure everything is well blended and cohesive. And then we'll go through that exact same process all over again on this other side. So hopefully this was easy enough for you guys to follow along. Hopefully you learned a little something. I tried to make sure that I do looks and tutorials that are very beginner friendly. And again, if this is not your cup of tea, you could use any colors you wanted to use, do them in the order that you like to do them in. Do you like to prep your lids a different way? That part of it is completely up to you guys. There's no wrong way. You do whatever makes you feel like the best version of yourself, and I think you'll be fine. And you can see on this eye, I'm literally going from darkest to lightest. It honestly doesn't really matter. Again, there is no wrong way. I love this. I think it is so pretty and absolutely perfect for springtime. I'm gonna go in with that kind of flatter brush. I'm gonna pinch it just a little bit. And I'm softly going to diffuse. Again, I want this to be nice and pastel. And I'm satisfied with the eyes. I think they look beautiful. You can also go in with a white and put it at the base of the brows. We can go in with that little lemon shade. I think I might go ahead and do that. Just so that there's something there to kind of round out the look. You could go in with a massive pair of lashes if you wanted to do lashes. I think some little, rhinestones or gemstones would also look quite beautiful with this particular look. And then if you wanted to do this with bright bold colors, neons, you could also do that and do in the kind of the same take and use the same basic technique that I used. And you may have to do, like I said, go in with one shade, go into the next, blend them, go back in with both, blend them again. I don't mind doing that. That's part of the makeup process, in my opinion. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna go with some eyeliner and some mascara. This is a Colourpop cream gel liner, and I cannot read that, so I'm gonna put it up here close for you guys. And I'm gonna go in with this first. And you could even do your liners this way. If you had a yellow liner, a blue liner, so on and so forth, whatever colors you used on the lid, you could absolutely use those on the waterline as well. I thought that this would tie in beautifully. I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Sky High Primer and my Fenty Beauty Hella Thick Mascara. I will do it with you guys, but we'll speed this part up. Alright, and then I'm going to go in and finish off with the Lunar Beauty Gloss in the shade Divine. You could also go in with something that's just a little bit more nude, or you could pick a color and do a pop of color. I like to just use the gloss. And then we're gonna take our hair down. And then here is our finished look. This is our ombre springtime eye look. What do you guys think? That is it, beauties. Thank y'all so much for joining me. And that is it, beauties. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I love you. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.